Good evening and Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by thanking you all, Minister Shah, you for making this possible and for you taking out time to be here this evening. You mentioned 2 points of not envying my position, and there's a third that I'd like to add. And the third is, when you have to travel to places to deal with challenges that are not your creation, but you have to deal with them. The last few days, I've been hopping from capital to capital, dealing with a very tense situation, which I believe, if it went out of hand, would result in a new conflict in the region, and our region has seen enough conflicts and perhaps is not ready for another one, doesn't have appetite for another one, and the consequences can be disastrous. I'm here on a very short visit. I got in last evening and had a fairly packed program in New York, because as you must have heard, yesterday we succeeded for the second time in 50 years, and the second time after a gap of 50 years, for the second time to get a discussion on the situation in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir at the Security Council. We had one on the 16th of August when this government had undertaken certain measures which we thought were not just illegal, they were violative of Security Council resolutions. And yesterday we had another one. This was on my request. I had written to the President of the Security Council and also written to the President of to the Secretary General of the UN, drawing their attention to the developments that have taken place, which, in my view, could be threatening peace and security in South Asia. That request of mine was supported by the Chinese, and finally we succeeded in getting a briefing from the political department of the UN and the UNMOGIP, the observers that are placed representing the UN there. The discussion went on for over an hour, and some very obvious points were made. One, and the observers said that they felt that they had complete understanding and cooperation from Pakistan, and they could not say that for India. The Indians do not permit them free access. They do not allow them beyond Srinagar at most, and that also very reluctantly. On the other hand, Pakistanis are open and give you access. They did acknowledge that, as pointed out by me in my letter, that violations across the line of control have been consistent and they have been going on. And I did point out that in 2019, close to or perhaps over 3,000 violations did take place. Human rights abuse. Indians do cultivate this impression that things are returning to normalcy in the Indian occupied Kashmir, and they stage dramas like the one the other day when some envoys were taken on a guided tour. They were not given free access. They didn't have the opportunity of meeting the detained leadership over there. international media is still not permitted to go there and report freely. The use of force is excessive. The young boys being picked up, women being sexually harassed is now known to everyone. The use of pellet guns is not unknown. And the reaction is not as obvious as it ought to be because of the communication blackout that they have imposed over there. Internet services are still suspended despite the Supreme Court of India ruling that it is illegal. They continue with that high-handedness. So the discussion that took place clearly spelled out that the situation is concerning and people are concerned about it. One other Indian propaganda was negated very, very clearly yesterday, and that was they have been trying to say that this is an internal matter and why should the Security Council be addressed? To that, the UN has responded very clearly. The statement of the Secretary General is very clear that the issue remains on the agenda of the Security Council and we cannot wish it away even if we want to. The second point that was raised by some of the countries, why don't Pakistan and India, why don't they talk about it bilaterally? There again, our position has been very clear that we have never shied away from a bilateral engagement, but look at the attitude the Indians have adopted since we came into office in August 2018. A number of overtures that we made were rebuffed by Indians, and not just rebuffed, they have taken steps which have further aggravated the situation, that have further complicated the situation by bifurcating the state into two unions, by depriving Ladakh of its representation, by bringing in more troops to suppress and oppress people. They have very clearly demonstrated that they have no room for dissent. By undertaking legislation which is discriminatory in nature, particularly pointing out towards Muslims in India, they have seen that not just the Muslims, other minorities in India and many Hindus in India who believe in the secular image that the founding fathers had for India have reacted very strongly. They have, you've seen protests all over. You've seen chief ministers leading protests in their capital cities. So the situation over there is a fairly complicated one, and we were able to highlight to the Security Council because of the domestic challenges we fear in Pakistan that they might get involved in some other misadventure and undertake some kind of a false flag operation, as they did in February. Pulwama is a case in point, which Pakistan retaliated, but our retaliation was measured and we showed restraint. We did not escalate. We did shoot down 2 of their aircrafts in self-defense, but returned the pilot immediately. We did target their areas, but made sure that there were no casualties that took place. So there was a good debate that took place, highlighting the situation in the Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Had the opportunity of meeting the Secretary General, meeting the President of the Security Council, and the President of the General Assembly. So it was a good round discussion that I had in New York. In Washington today, I've had the opportunity of interacting with members of the Congress. I met the rejuvenated, activated Pakistan-US Congress caucus, Congressional Caucus, and I was happy that despite the activities that are going on up on the Hill, people and congressmen would take out time and meet with me and hear my point of view on the situation in Kashmir, the situation in Afghanistan, and the Middle East. Had the pleasure of meeting senior members of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, interacted with them as well. So it was a fairly full day, and tomorrow I will be meeting Secretary Pompeo and the National Security Advisor to share with them my assessment and hear from them, what are their expectations and how do they see things unfold in the days ahead. And I'll be leaving tomorrow evening, so it was very little time. But thank you. Thank you. You could take out time for this brief introduction. The ambassador mentioned, and I would completely agree with him, that our Pakistani diaspora has been excellent. They have been helping Pakistan, and they have used their influence wherever they have had influence in mobilizing a public opinion for Pakistan. Just going back a year and a half, what I noticed today, that there was a change in mood on the Capitol Hill. August 2017, when the new South Asia strategy was announced, Pakistan was viewed negatively. All ills were being put in your basket. But today, Pakistan is being viewed positively. There is a recognition, there is appreciation that Pakistan has sincerely facilitated the peace process that has moved ahead in Afghanistan. There is hope. We also recognize spoilers, and there could be spoilers, parties that are not interested in seeing peaceful, stable Afghanistan. Nonetheless, the administration recognizes the fact that Pakistan has contributed, Pakistan has delivered in convincing the Taliban to come to the negotiating table and getting an authoritative delegation constituted that they can talk to. And they have had meaningful discussions. They've made good progress. And the announcement last night was fairly encouraging that the Taliban have agreed to cessation of hostilities and are willing to create that environment, that enabling environment that will make the agreement possible. And hopefully, if the agreement is signed, we move on to the next stage, and that is initiation of the intra-Afghan dialogue. I was also able, and tomorrow I will try and share with the Secretary of State the delicate situation, the human rights abuse that we are viewing in Indian occupied Kashmir. We feel that can be dangerous and that can push the region into some kind of a new conflict which we do not want. Our agenda is peace in the neighborhood so that Pakistan can deal with the economic challenges that are today a real obstacle for us. We inherited a fairly difficult economic situation, but it has been piling up. It hasn't happened overnight. Things have built up. You know, it's been things have been deteriorating for over a decade, and now they've reached a stage where we had to once again go to the IMF for a new stabilization program, which is always painful to implement, and you know, you can see that, but we had no choice but to do that. We are trying to refocus on the economy because I am convinced that foreign policy objectives of Pakistan cannot be met if Pakistan remains economically vulnerable. Then we cannot take decisions as independently as we would like to take decisions. So here again, the community here can contribute by convincing American businesses to come to Pakistan, invest in Pakistan, create jobs there. We are trying our utmost to undertake reforms that will enable ease of business and can be attractive for people. I will not go on and on because if you have some questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And then we'll call it a night because I have to prepare for tomorrow's weather. Thank you.